Today, we are talking about 3 benefits of breath work. As a somatic trauma aware certified breath facilitator, I have helped many men and women to be able to find peace and to come back to center with breath work. There are so many benefits, but we are going to talk about the 3 important ones today. And I'm going to share a story about a time when I actually was able to use breath work and very profoundly see it happen and change in my life. So I had gone the night before and I was helping organize an event. We'd spent 3 hours putting all these things together, getting everything right, all the tables set, all the chairs put up. Everything looked amazing. And we had spent so much time and effort making sure that we had everything exactly like we wanted it. We left that night and I was a little bit sad. I'd missed a family function that I felt was really important that I should have been at, but I also wanted to make this event really nice. So imagine my surprise as I walk in the next day and I had set this up in the gymnasium. And as I walk in, I'm hearing basketballs bouncing in the gym, right? Here I had set all this up and now I'm hearing basketballs. Why is there basketballs bouncing around in a gym that's set up for a party? As I go in there, the whole thing has been taken down. And I later find it on the other side of the building, down the hall, and in another room. All my tables, everything just discombobulated. And as I spoke with the coach that was coaching the girls' basketball, he just told me, "Oh, calm down. It's not a big deal." And it was a big deal to me. I had missed a family function. I had spent hours setting it up and getting it to be perfect, all the tablecloths, all the things. I wanted it to be so perfect, right? That's how us women get. And here it was, all a mess in the hallway, discombobulated, completely torn down. All the chairs had been folded up, put against the wall. And I was a little upset. So I was taking some time trying to do some deep breaths just to calm myself and get recomposed before I even spoke to him. Well, I am in the kitchen trying to get the things there ready because he's like, "We'll be done at this certain time and then we'll put it back together," because he was not budging. So I'm in the kitchen trying to get some of the food prep ready. And he comes in there and he says, "It's really not a big deal." And I said, "Yes, it is." And he grabbed my shoulder and he said, "You need to calm down," which I felt like I was trying to be so composed and so calm. I didn't feel like I had fallen apart. Normally, in a situation like this, I would have been crying, and I didn't. I was just expressing to him that I was disappointed in how much work I'd put in and what he had done to discombobulate it. So then he starts yelling at me, "Well, you better come tell me where you want all this stuff." And I said, "I'll be out there in just a minute. Just go ahead and start moving things." And he just kept going at me like, "You need to get in here. You need to get in here." And I finally just looked at him and I said, "I will be in there in a minute." And I didn't say it mean. I just said it like with some authority. And it surprised me because I don't speak like that normally. And usually, like I say, I'm all upset when somebody's yelling or screaming at me. So imagine how I'm surprised, like, "Oh, this is really cool. I'm responding different. Things are happening differently." So that night we got everything back together the best we could. They kind of threw things around. Nothing was quite like it should have been. There were holes in the tablecloths that they had ripped through the plastic tablecloths. And anyways, we just had to go with it because we didn't have time to go buy new stuff. We didn't have time to fix anything. We had women coming in 15 minutes by the time we got this all together. So I get everything as organized as we can. We get the food started to get prepared, and the women start showing up. And I now have to use a microphone and speak to these women and welcome them and be calm. So I took a few minutes, I took a few deep breaths, gained my composure, and I began. Now I have to rewind because I forgot part of this story in my excitement of sharing what was the crazy. Earlier that day, I had done a breath session with my facilitator, and we had worked on opening up my breath so that my voice with the breath pattern so that I would be able to speak. So that was what I was hoping was going to help with being able to show up on a microphone to welcome all these women. And there it is, helping me deal with this guy that is just going crazy, worse than I was going crazy. And so um, as I stepped up to the microphone. I welcomed them. I did my thing. I had a little presentation I gave. And when it was all done and we were cleaning up, I had two different women come up to me. And the first one said, as I walked into the meeting, I could hear this voice, and I was like, who is that? They sound like they should be on the radio, which I'm like, really? That's so strange, right? Like, it was a compliment, but it was like, that was wild to hear. And so I told her, thank you. And then I had another lady that also said, "You speak with such ease and poise on a microphone, and I would never be able to do that." Which I was again, I'm like, "Oh, thank you." Like I'm trying to accept these compliments, but I'm also like kind of shocked, and it was kind of fun. And so, breath can do a lot of different things. There are so many different patterns that you can use that can benefit different parts of things. But today we're just going to talk about three different ways to help us to when we are in that anxiety space, how we can calm down and what we can do with that. So when we get all crazy, one of the best things that we can do is just to stop what we're doing and just take 3 deep breaths. And we've done this on several of my videos, but it's so important. And I'm going to continue to go back to it because it is so important. But it is just having that pause, taking a deep breath in, letting it out. Let's do it 2 more times. Deep breath in and out. One more time. Deep breath in and out. Can you feel yourself already just with those breaths? And I didn't do them as long and paused out as I would, but those breaths, even just that little bit, you can feel a difference. You can feel yourself going, yeah, that feels better, right? So, like I said, I also used a breath that helped to open up my voice. And I'm not going to show you that breath here because it's a more advanced breath. But what I can say that could help you right now in starting to be able to be heard and have your voice stronger is to do a breath with sound. So you could do ah, ah, right? Or you could say mmm, or you could just sigh. Right? Any of those things, allowing yourself to be heard as you're breathing is going to help open up your safety to feel safe to be heard. And then the last piece that I want to share with you is that when we can slow down our breath, it will actually slow down the wavelengths in our mind. They've got studies on this. And so as we're like all frantic, right? Especially when we start to kind of do an anxiety spiral where all of a sudden we're thinking about all the what ifs, and it's the what if something happened? What if this didn't work out? What if, right? And then all of a sudden we're just like down here at the bottom of the barrel because we've spent so much time in the what if, and we get ourselves all upset and we can't seem to get out of that anxiety. Or you're like me, you wake up to a disaster that you thought was all put together and you're like, what am I doing now? Right. So you can use that breath to slow your mind down, and it will help you to refocus on what's important. So you can do that, and just calm yourself and let yourself feel. Now, if you would like to know how I do that, I have a free breath session that I've pre recorded that you can get at my website. You can head over there to toolstoempower.com. And I'll put it in the link below so that you'll be able to find that as well. But it's toolstoempower.com, and I have a free guided, it has beautiful music and everything, a free little breath session that you can do to help yourself. You can have it so that you can just have it in your back pocket, pull it out, listen to it. It will help you. I do the box breath in there, which is breathing in for a certain count, holding for a certain count, breathing out for a certain count, and then starting again. It's a really, really beautiful thing. And it's nice to have somebody guide you through it because then they're counting and you don't have to. You get to just breathe. But as you go through your day, I hope that you have a most wonderful time. And if you do find yourself in a spot of anxiety, stop, take a breath, relax, reset, and know that it's going to be okay. We'll see you next time. You guys.